I'm on alcohol. Oh, wrong meeting. No, I'm only addicted to my family, comic books, and to Stan Lee. I joined Timely Comics in 1942 on Columbus Day. I was hired by one Don Rico, who was doing the Young Allies. And he took my work in, and 5 minutes later, he said, "You're hired." But this is not about Alan Bellman. This is about Stan Lee and what made Stan Lee run. I know what made Stan Lee run. I know why this little kid from the village of the Four Corners in Long Island had become a figure bigger than life, bigger than anyone that I've ever met in this world. There were times Stan and I had our differences. When I learned of his death, I was shocked. I thought he was invincible, but no one is invincible. But I was simply overcome, having lost my son a few short months ago. I was greatly affected. I knew Stan Lee. We were not social friends, but I know Stan Lee. When I joined Timely Comics, Stan Lee was not there. I was there 2 weeks when I saw a young man walk behind another gentleman called Robbie Solomon, who was the office manager. In fact, no one knew what Robbie Solomon actually was. They thought he was a company spy. But anyway, I asked someone and I said, "Who's that young kid?" He says, "Oh, that's Stanley Lieber. They're breaking him in as an editor." Oh, that little kid. He was this high, I was this high. He was 19 and a half, I was all of 18 when I joined. Well, Robbie Solomon died shortly after, and Stan Lee never walked behind anyone else. So what made Stan Lee, what made a little obscure kid become well-known all over the world? Upon his passing, the newspapers, television, it went all over the world. Stan Lee was gone. But he had something in him that a lot of people in the comic business did not have. He was a showman. He had Stan Lee Presents, and he gave credit to everyone. He had that feeling, and he knew what the public wanted. And the world loved him. And I remember one time, he was making on a radio interview, and I called the station, and we had a three-way talk. And they said, "Alan Bellman's on the phone." He said, "Alan Bellman." And we had a three-way talk. But I'm going to keep this short and sweet. There are other people here to speak. Stan Lee, wherever you are, if you run across my son Gary, please introduce yourself. And they say Excelsior? No. Stan Lee said, "It's amazing." So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope they print comic books in heaven, because Stan Lee is the man and was the man. God bless you all, and I speak from my heart. How sweet it is. I can do a soft shoe.
One more time for Alan Bellman.